Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. Dr. Mamiko Odegard joining us, our best-selling author, biz life success coach, relationship therapist, psychologist, world-renowned, amazing communicator, and just a great person. So I'm excited she's back with us here today. Pleasure to see you, and excited to know you're going on vacation next week. I just got back from vacation. There's just a special energy in the air, and I think it makes for an even better show, right? We're going to learn today again.
Get renewed, right? Get that excitement together and some fun in their lives, for sure.
It's so true. And you've been teaching us all, how to learn to be our best selves, right? And this is what we're doing. Each episode, we're learning more about how we sabotage and limit ourselves and how step by step we can create the person that we really want to be and create the life we desire. Now, last week, I'll just remind you, I was away. So it was the week before, I think. You were discussing the two types of people, the internal and the external locus of control, right? Can you refresh our memory on this?
Exactly right. So you've got your mind in gear for sure. So just as a reminder, the external locus of control person is the type of person who feels like he or she is ruled by fate. In other words, things happen to him or her, and this person doesn't have much personal power. So the person just kind of goes along with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And as an example, there's a lot of downsizing and layoff that are happening right now. And so this person thinks in terms of a fatalistic way, okay, I'm next on the chopping block. I'm not going to be here long. I'm going to get cut. And sure enough, that probably will happen. But on the other hand, you have the internal locus of control person who's much more impactful on the environment and what happens to him or her at any given moment. And so this type of person believes that he or she can change the experiences and the outcomes. And so instead of believing that that person's going to get laid off, they think, okay, I'm going to really focus on my work product, do the best job that I can possibly can. I'm going to let my supervisors know the quality of the work that I'm doing through emails, through scheduling meetings, to keeping them informed, talking with the upper management. And so then, you really are held in much higher esteem. Or think about another situation. Your spouse comes to you and says, I'm not happy with our marriage. I want a divorce. So the internal focus person says, hey, wait, I love you. And I want to do everything possible to repair our marriage. You are the love of my life. And I realize that I haven't been giving you the type of love and attention that you really need. And I'd like for us to talk about it, get some professional help. And I am willing to change. And I really want to learn how I can love you, meet your needs, respect you more, and be more tender with you. Well, when you say those things and you actually get the help that you need, it begins to change the dynamics, not only of yourself, but also of your environment. So if you have a therapist or coach that really can help you improve your communication, the way that you show tenderness and love, respect, the way that you resolve conflicts together, the dynamics change and your spouse might begin to fall in love with you again and rebuild that sense of trust. And so I just want you to know that when we take action, we actually have a greater sense of peace, because maybe the marriage is too far gone. And no matter what you say or the arrangements that you make to get professional help, your partner is unwilling, because your partner says, hey, there's too much damage. There's too much water under the bridge. But the thing is, by you don't have to just mouth it. You can actually get help for yourself and begin to show some loving actions, affirming the other person, and showing your tenderness and caring and understanding of where your partner is coming from, that might change the tide. If it doesn't, then I want you to know that we can't directly control another person, but If that person still decides to go through with the divorce, then you have peace of mind that you've done what you could. And this is one of the things that I do with couples all the time of do I stay or do I leave, whether they're married or simply together as partners, is that I give them an opportunity to really update their skills and express and talk heart to heart so that each person understands the needs and what the other
Mm-hmm.
person is missing and wanting. And so I'm saying to you that you don't have to just give up, but this way you give your relationships, yourself a chance to really step up, and you never know what's going to happen. Oftentimes there are miracles, and I see that every day. Sure.
Oh my goodness, beautiful. Thank you so much. And I love this, everyone listening. She's saying we have the power to change our outcomes. And if you have any questions, by the way, as we continue the conversation, please feel free to call 631-307-4010. The lines are open. 631-307-4010. Ask any question. Whether you have a mate, looking for a mate, she's here to help you grow and gonna help me too, I think. So, you know what?
Well,
Yeah.
let's hope so. It's going to benefit everyone, including myself, to be more mindful of the ways that I communicate and show love and take initiative, that sort of thing. But yes, the point that I want to make is that we have the power to change whatever is around us, what's
Yeah.
happening to us. And I know that we've all heard the term law of attraction.
Yes.
What it is that we think and say to ourselves, that's exactly what we attract. And so,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're more prone to being that external locus of control person where you think that you don't really have any power, when you begin to change those beliefs and that internal dialogue, then you begin to grow as a person, and you'll be amazed as to what sort of results that you get, because you will truly be blessed for sure. So that's why I want you to know that, yes, absolutely, if you love someone, fight for that person, fight for keeping that relationship
Mm-hmm.
together. And, don't just give up just because your partner is unhappy with you or not attracted to you. And interestingly enough, when we take action, we feel that sense of peace that I had mentioned, because we know that we've given our best effort, that we didn't just give up and feel defeated again, that you can demonstrate your own changes, such as your ability to show anger in more appropriate ways, or to uplift your depression, or the poor me syndrome. And, instead, begin to be the one who cherishes others and shows tenderness, is thoughtful, listens, and understands with greater empathy and compassion. Because your partner is oftentimes going to respond to those positive changes.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, when a partner's been too hurt and full of resentment, might be past that point of reconciliation because the walls are down and are going to stay down, or stay up, I should say. And so, you know, I want you to know that you grow. Maybe you couldn't preserve this relationship, but the skills that you learn last
Yeah.
forever and can elevate you into whatever relationship that you might find. And we're going to get into some of that as to how you elevate yourself, how you begin to meet new people, how you begin to discern whether they're good friends or good lovers or whatever the case might be.
Oh my goodness, beautiful. Thank you for that. And making a real great distinction, because we can't ever directly change one another, but we can put in, as you say, maybe consistent loving efforts with intention. And those
Right.
actions can create that peaceful income, right? Outcome, I should say, in a sense, right? Like on the
Oh,
inside, create that peace.
yes, for sure. Because Jill, what you're truly expressing is the power of I and the power of we.
Yeah.
And so when you begin to change yourself and your actions toward another person, you allow the other person to have certain powers too, and draw
Mm-hmm.
themselves closer to you. So that power of the I and we to transform ourselves and influence somebody else is just so important that I just want you not to give up, but instead to keep growing and to become better and better in terms of, the person that you are and the ability then to attract healthier partners and keep those. But I want you to have a word of caution too, and that is mistrust. Because mistrust can raise its ugly head, because all of a sudden one partner might go through this epiphany, get some help, starts responding differently to that other partner. And then that partner becomes very suspicious and will make accusations like, you're really acting strange. You're not acting like yourself. What are you hiding? Are you
Uh-huh.
a secret affair? What's going on with you that all of a sudden you're being so attentive. Should I be knowing something is going on behind my back? Whew, that's making a judgment and all the goodwill and so forth. If the person isn't
Me-
determined and
uh,
strong
hello,
and
hello.
really believing in
Hello.
Hi,
you
hi.
and
So
wanting
sorry
to
we have
show
a
love,
caller.
is going to just kind of give
Yes.
up,
Good afternoon.
you
Good
know?
afternoon.
Hold on one sec. We have a caller. Hi, hi, hi. What is your name?
My name's Jim. Jim Collins.
Hi, Jim. How are
Uh,
you? Dr.
very,
Mamiko, can you
very,
hear
very
Jim?
good. Very good. If you're going to reach out and ask you, I don't know, did you see what your views on this or thoughts? How do we keep the spark alive? The spark. How do we keep that alive like in a long relationship?
That's an excellent question, Jim. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
calling in and asking that,
Yeah.
because this is going to help everybody. We all get a little complacent at times, especially when we've been in a really long relationship. And so,
Right.
the things that you used to do in the past, we stopped doing those. Maybe they're going for
Yeah,
walks.
because the honeymoon stage does wear off.
Right, exactly. And so, what I want you to do is to just begin to stop and think, as well as talk to your partner.
Yeah.
Like when you were first,
Okay.
can you hear me all right?
Say it one more time.
Hello?
You were first. I know someone's breaking up. Say it again.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you now.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So, I just was going to say, talk with your partner and reminisce about the things that you used to do when you first
Oh,
met each
that's a
other
good one.
and started falling in love. And some
The
of
good
those
times.
things could
Yeah.
be simple walks that you have in the evenings after dinner, or it might be watching a Netflix together, or even a ball
Yeah.
game and you're rooting for the team, or being playful, going to a park, taking turns swinging each other, or exercising together, and you act as partners where you
Wow.
watch the other person and protect that person from falling or
I
injuring
like that.
themselves. Whatever it
I like
is,
that a lot.
whatever it is that's fun, that brought you closer together, that stimulated the two of you, those are simple pleasures. So, we're all worried about money these days with what's going on in the
Yeah.
economy. And so, I'm saying that the things that you do to uplift your marriage doesn't have to be expensive wines and dinners and, vacations and things like that, but do things
Right.
that are everyday stuff. Like, now it's spring. And so go to a botanical garden together
Yeah.
and really enjoy the outdoors, or play with your pup, or, sit outside on the patio after you grill some hamburgers or steaks, and look at the stars and just hold
And have some
hands.
nice
Those are the
enjoyment time
moments
together. Okay.
that are really special, and that you remember that that's, how made your relationship
Yeah.
grow and
Love it. Thank you so
in
much.
that spark.
Thank you so much, Jim, for calling in.
Thank
We
you very much. Have a good
appreciate it.
afternoon.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
All right.
Thank you.
Line's still open, 631-307-4010 if you have any questions. In the meantime, we just need to remind you who we're speaking to. Dr. Mamiko Odegard. Yay! She's here as a psychologist, relationship therapist, author, world-renowned, just a fascinating woman who's helping people connect and love and We've all been through trials and tribulations. She shared with us many years ago, she came to the States from, it was Japan, right? When you were only
Right,
like
exactly.
7. But she had to learn a new language, to be bullied, to be shamed. It's just, we all overcome obstacles in our lives, right? Makes us stronger, better who we are. And you take that knowledge, that wisdom, and here she goes and becomes a doctor as well, no less. So her education speaks for herself. Her track record and reviews are amazing. And she's here with us today. And today we are talking about this type of power to change, and not only to change or influence others, but ourselves too. It's both, right?
Right, exactly. And I started going through an example of where we can make accusations and
Yes.
judgment about our partner when our partner is starting to change behaviors in a positive direction, where they're more attentive and tender and more receptive to us and so forth. And so, you know, instead of accusing your partner, I want you to remember this basic concept of psychology. And whatever feels good to you, then reward that person with a compliment, with a hug, or whatever. And you're
Yeah.
going to increase the chances that that positive behavior, that desired behavior will occur again. So instead of mistrust and judgment, you say, boy, when you came in and hugged me, that really made my day, or really just made that love spark, reignite. And I just want to thank you for doing that, because I see you're excited. I'm excited. I'm happy. And I just want you to know that I'm happy that you're home and can't wait for us to just relax together with dinner and, you know, get reconnected again. So the more that you hug and kiss and you reciprocate, the more you're going to get that in kind. So I'm just saying that, it doesn't have to be big actions, but you are an influencer. And whatever it is that you do, it affects your partner and your loved ones. And so the rest is kind of history. And so you've got to take the first step. Don't wait and be passive for your partner to start signs of love.
Oh,
You give those signs of love. So that's why, one of the things I want you to remember is act on love towards yourself and towards others. So whatever it is that you want, and if you love and accept yourself, you're going to give that to others, and they're going to feel that acceptance and love. So
beautiful. Thank you. Now, what about for us single listeners out there, right? I'm one of them included. And I feel like, a lot of us may be single, but you're saying that this could be a good time for us too, because maybe there's things we should be doing to feel more love, to get more love, to feel connected. So could you share a little bit of insight to the single world and how we find that person to get started with all this stuff?
well, thanks for asking about that, because that's a big audience, the single group. And so I want you to all feel that you're empowered and that you can make changes in your life and attract the type of person that you want. And so you've got to be brave enough to step out and be the initiator,
Mm-hmm.
like I say, act on love. And so I want you to know that there are actually 3 ways that you can get a
Oh,
conversation going, believe it or not. And I know that you probably do this, but you don't do it consistently. It depends on the type of mood you're in, whether you're
mm-hmm.
tired, sleepy, grumpy, whatever the case might be. But I want you to really just practice and make it a habit of trying these 3 different ways of introducing yourself and starting the conversation, because I want you to know that whoever it is that starts the conversation first is the one who has greater self esteem, self love, confidence. And that's what this is all about. We are attracted to others who really are self confident and feel good about themselves. And so I want you to be the shining example and be able to attract those sorts of people. So the first thing that you want to do, whether you're in an elevator or you're just walking down the street to your office, in the parking lot, whatever, is I want you to smile, make eye contact, and to say something about the other person. it can be a compliment like, wow, your outfit really brings out the color of your eyes, or, that is a great outfit on you. You wear it well, or, boy, your hair looks amazing. It's so long and full, and the design of your hairstyle is really a work of art. So, as an example, the NBA playoffs are going on, and the Houston Rockets have a player named Dylan Brooks. And Dylan Brooks, I was so amazed because his hairstyle was really a work of art, where in the back of his head, and the front, it's all braided, but in the back, it has the Rockets logo. So it has the big
Wow.
R, and he even has like the world on there. And so, that's an easy thing to see. And people love it when you compliment something that stands out. Or maybe it's about saying something like, that's a fantastic tat. Tell me the story behind it.
Yes.
And you might have a short conversation, in the gym or on an elevator or whatever. But I just want you to begin to notice what it is that might stand out to you
Yeah.
about another person, and what sort of comment or compliment that you'd like to give. That's one of the easiest ways to get a conversation, because you'll get a smile and you'll get an acknowledgement and definitely a thank you. Um, so the second way is to say something about yourself. So I know that, Jill, you met your mystery man over in the grocery store by the
You'll
produce.
never forget that. Yeah, the carrots. Yes, yes.
That's our very first meeting when you talked about that. And so,
That's great.
if I say something about myself and I'm in a grocery store, I might say, I have no idea how to pick a really great ripe, sweet watermelon. I thump it, or I look at the ends, I look at the coloration, but there's no secret, 95% proof of, what I'm really looking for. It's still a hit or miss, so that's something that you could say, to the other person. The other person says, oh, here's how I do it. And you think, yeah, that sounds great. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try your method. That sounds really, really great. And so you exchange things that are commonalities. So we have a friend whose name is Rich Fisher, and we met him like 30 years ago or so,
Okay.
or more, and through a mutual friend. And so Rich was the proverbial single guy. He was always on the lookout for attractive women that he could date and he could connect with somehow. And so one day, Rich was at this parking lot for this church. So it was Sunday, and then he saw this attractive woman getting out of the parking lot. And so then, he quickly closed the door, caught up to her, and he said, if you think there's somebody that's following you, then that's true. And she kind of laughed. And then he asked permission to sit next to her during the service. And that's how their relationship started. So it can be really simple comments that you say about your situation, or it could be the compliment about the other. And speaking of the other, if the person has similar interests to you, whether it's a mocha frappuccino, or, whether it's reading a certain type of book, you can also use that as, oh, I see that you like the Clancy books. Which one are you reading now? What's going on? And so, it doesn't have to be things that are highly personal. It's about that person. And then the third way to start a conversation is to say something about the situation that you're in. So we all go to weddings where there's a ton of people. We don't know many people except for maybe the bride or the groom. So you say, I'm a friend of the bride. How about you? Who do you know here at the wedding? Or, you see somebody that is has just received their food, and you think, wow, that looks delicious. It must taste phenomenal. What did you order? And so then they start telling you about their favorite dish and how they've been coming here for years and so forth. And so there are just so many ways that you can enter into a conversation, or using a Starbucks example, like I say, the Frappuccino, that might be something that you both have in common. Or, you say, I'd like to sit by you because guess what? You're sitting in the best spot that's most comfortable and has the best Wi-Fi. So it's easy. You just have to be observant and notice things about the other person. So I just want you to know that you have the power to attract people to you and to start relationships. And that's where I'd like to invite you all to have a free consultation with me, because let's go over what's limiting you and, what can truly help you to find the love that you want. And next time, I promise that I'll talk about healthy and unhealthy love. And when you get attracted to the wrong persons, exactly what steps you can take to recognize that it's not a healthy relationship and begin to step back and to begin to attract different relationships.
Well, I love what you said. And, you brought up the grocery store man that I met that approached me over the carrots, asking about how to choose carrots. Clearly, he was flirting with me and then told me if I don't call him, I'll think about him one day when I'm on the couch alone with my cats. And I never called him, but still, I give him credit for his courage to do something like that. And I don't go out and usually flirt with people, but I always acknowledge people. And I just love, I go to the grocery store and I make friends with people. I look up, I say hi. And there's something about someone's aura that just stands out all the time. And I just one important thing I teach my children, and I'm sure you would agree, is eye contact. You don't just say hi, look away. No. Hi, how are you? You got to look into someone's eye because you see their soul. You can see through them. And it's just, I don't know.
But it shows that you're approachable. When you look at them directly and you smile, you're giving the nonverbal that I'm approachable, I'm safe, let's talk.
Exactly. Well, I just think that's how I always break the ice. I just smile, say hello, make eye contact. It's pretty simple. I don't think there's any I don't know what anyone else does, but I think that's just simple. Or a gesture, help someone if they're at the grocery store, get the bag for them. Offer them to go ahead of you, open the door for them. It's just, I don't know, someone why am I always in the grocery store? I guess I grocery shop a lot. But the other day there was a woman, she was a little older, shorter. She couldn't reach the top of the cheese. So I said, I'll get it for you. And then it brightens up their day. And I think that carries on to their day. And they go home and light someone else up. And the light keeps going and going. It's like those Chinese lanterns that fly. Is that what they're called? Or the lanterns? What, I don't know.
So as you say, you're a conduit for love, and it sparks other people to do the same. So
I hope so. And so are you. Thank you again for being here. Remind us how we can reach out to you.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, just go to my website, which is easy to remember, actonlove.com. actonlove.com. That's what you're going to do. And when you get there, you'll see the toll-free number, the 855-608-4800. And all you have to do is leave your name, your phone number, your best time that you'd like to be reached. And I promise you that I will follow up with you. So thank you to all of the listeners. I appreciate you, and I appreciate Jill so much. And let's have fun together, and let's all share that love.
Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Great show as always. Great speaking with you. We'll talk soon, hon. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org. and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's just going to be okay.